Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast. We are swinging up into the great state of Pennsylvania. We've got Joy Dengler on this week. Joy, welcome to the Equinety Podcast.
Hi, thank you so much. It's great to be here, and I am super excited to share my story about JT and his feet.
Well, we're excited to have you, as always, excited to have guests on. So we're dealing with hoof issues this week. So tell us what was going on with the hooves here.
So JT has very thin soles, and I could never keep him sound or keep shoes on him, and he got very painful and needed glue-on shoes and pads, and they would be casted right onto his feet because he absolutely could not walk without them. And then there came a point where we just couldn't keep doing that, and we put shoes back on him, and we went right back to the same problems, and you could push with your thumb on his sole and see it go in.
Wow, so his soles were very thin then.
Yes. They are less than 2 millimeters.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
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 Less than about 1.5 millimeters. So they are very thin.
So always kind of lame, and so you're having to go to extremes, putting on glue-on shoes and even casting. It's pretty serious.
Yes, because the material, what we had to work with on his feet we couldn't get glue-ons to stay on, and there was nowhere to nail or clip shoes anymore just because they were so fragile, and they would just flake off, or he would pull it off, and the nails just ripped straight down, and my farrier was even using copper nails on him that were supposed to be better, and I tried all kinds of products that were supposed to harden his soles, and they did not.
So, wow, that had to be very frustrating. How long were you dealing with this issue?
The glue-ons and all that was probably a year.
Wow.
Of going back and forth, and every time, and then there were years of when we would take his shoes off, he could go without shoes for less than 24 hours before all he could do was stand still and rock back on his back feet. So the farrier would come right back out, and we would try something new.
Well, so just always in pain, couldn't grow a hoof at all, very thin soles.
No. Yes.
And probably put your farrier to the super creative tasks, maybe things he's never had to do before.
That is absolutely correct. My farrier went and found new things and got very creative, and people know about glue-on shoes. When it's too cold, the glue sets too slow, and when it's too hot, the glue sets too fast, and so it was always difficult. And then it got to the point where we needed to involve my equine vet, and she needed to come out, and that we've taken x-rays of his feet twice, and she would have to actually sedate him because he was in so much pain. And we would end up putting rubber mats under one foot one front foot while my farrier worked on his other foot.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was that sore that standing on three legs just was very difficult for him.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's heartbreaking, seeing your horse go through that. So
yes, I thought I wouldn't be able to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he was, at one point, I did not think he was going to survive that issue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't foundering or laminitis or any of that. It was just the condition of his hooves.
Yeah, and no matter, we won't mention any names, but you tried pretty much everything on the market that was available as far as strengthening hooves and growing hooves and all that kind of stuff.
If they sold it, I bought it at the store.
Yeah, yeah.
I had never ordered anything online for him. Oh, and I did use supplements that I ordered. There was a pelleted supplement that is supposed to be wonderful, and he got that for years, and it didn't help.
Yeah.
So I discontinued that.
Right. So always battling just poor quality hooves and thin soles. So now let's jump ahead. So you kept seeing ads for on Facebook of our Equinety product, but they didn't really hit home because you weren't seeing ads around the hoof. You were seeing some other things, body composition and weight gain and filling out and things like that. So
yes, and my horse was, other than his feet, a very happy, healthy, sometimes too filled out horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, I'm like, yeah, that's nice, but my horse doesn't have that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw a story that somebody was talking about their horse's hooves and everything that was there. I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. I can identify with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I'm going to try this product because I have nothing to lose. And so I started the product, and truly, almost immediately, I just started seeing improvement. And then, so at one point, we stopped with the shoes, we stopped with the glue-ons, we stopped all of that, and my farrier fully expected to come out the next day to put his shoes back on, and we were going to go, they used to be nailed on, and we were going to do clips. And he was sore because he had been without shoes, and I, at that time, started the Equinety, and he wasn't painfully, he wasn't immobilized sore. It wasn't acute pain that he was in. It was just foot sore and within a couple of days, that got better, and then it got better on cement, and then it got better on stone dust, and now, today he's walking on gravel, and we're riding, and he's super happy, and every time my farrier comes out, which is every 5 weeks in the winter and 4 weeks in the summer, he has been commenting since I started the Equinety, I can't believe how much toe he has grown, because that was part of the problem is his feet grow incredibly slow.
Mm-hmm. Now, you haven't had any updated x-rays in regards to show the increased sole depth, but prior to using the Equinety, describe what you would feel by pressing on the soles and how thin they were. What was that like?
So they were like squishy. You could push them in, and at one point, my farrier actually pushed hard enough that he cracked it.
Mm.
He cracked the sole of his foot. He didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But his fingernail, I mean, that's how thin it was.
Wow.
And that's how soft they were, his feet. And he was, you could look at my horse and see the pain that he was in and the soles. And when I went to pick them and clean them, I was very careful not to touch them. And I had to, you would have to put something soft under one foot to do the other foot. This problem exists only on his front feet, not his back feet.
Sure.
For whatever reason, and I have not ever had his back feet x-rayed. So I don't know what the soles look like, but he's never had a problem.
Yeah. Now, how long has he been using product up to this point?
So I'm going to say it maybe 4.5 months.
Okay. And what happens, describe for us now when you press on the sole?
It is solid as a rock. I can push all over. I can use like the end of the pick. I don't use the corner, but like you take the flap, something harder than my thumb.
Right.
You can just push as hard as you can, and it is hard as a rock. It just looks clean. And when you look at his feet, the hooves, they're clean, they're smooth, there are no cracks going around the edges on the outside when you pick it up and pick them out, and they're smooth on the bottom. His frogs look great. The bulbs, I mean, his hoof problem involved every part of his foot, like the bulbs, the frog,
everything,
but the soles, everything, and everything looks better. I think the last time my farrier was out, maybe 5 weeks ago, he said, "Oh, at some point, it looks like JT could have had an abscess by the bulb, but," and I said, "I didn't notice." He didn't say anything. He was sound, and it wasn't a big. And he said, "Well, it healed really well. It must not have been a serious one."
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I didn't have to soak it, wrap it, put anything on it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Like, we didn't even know he had an abscess.
Yeah.
He was not off at all.
Wow. Well, I'll jump in real quick here because for those tuning in for the first time, I'll say despite everything you've heard about the Equinety product helping with a very thin-soled, poor-quality hoof, which is what's been going on with this horse for years, Equinety is not a hoof supplement, which is ironic. What the Equinety product is, it's 100% pure amino acids, but they're specifically formulated to stimulate the pituitary gland, which is the master gland in the body. And that's what releases the necessary hormones, which help the body heal at a cellular level. So if you've listened to the other podcasts that we have, which go from one extreme to another, in this one, we're specifically just talking about hoofs. And in this case, this particular horse was sending the released hormones to the problem area, which was the hoof area. So this is where all of the healing is taking place. Now, in other horses, it could be help filling in the top line or gut issues or demeanor and overall mood and things like that. Since you've been using the product now for a good 4 months, have you noticed any other things going on besides the hooves?
So he does. You know what? He is more pleasant. Like, his demeanor really is better. His weight is at a stable, very good weight, and he's active, he's social, his coat is shiny, and you look at him and he looks like a very healthy horse, and my horse has colicked a few times in the past. We've gone through some crazy Pennsylvania weather this winter, and not even close to a colic. I see my vet once a year now for his immunizations. She has not needed to come out. Like I haven't had any emergency.
Oh, that's great.
Calls, and a few of the horses where we are have colicked or had problems. My horse has not. And my horse previously, he has colicked a couple times, and then that just makes them more prone to that. And he's not. He is back to being like this super easy keeper.
Yeah, well, you know what? And two, when you can, if we are in a lot of pain, then, our demeanor's not the greatest, and, we're not happy campers either. So same thing with the horse. Now his feet are feeling good. He's feeling better, more lively and happier, and being brought his personality back out again. So that is absolutely fantastic. Well, Joy Dengler out of Pennsylvania, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story here on the Equinety Podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and it was great to share a story, and I hope that if someone else is having the same issues that I'm having, that they give Equinety a try, because it absolutely 100% plus did way more than I thought it would, much faster than I thought it would for my horse. And he's not only sound, he's sound and barefoot.
Yeah.
So that's just an added bonus that, it's not even just regular shoes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's barefoot and sound.
That is awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you bet. And thank you. I really, really appreciate it. I know people will get a lot of benefit out of hearing this one. So thanks a bunch.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Have a great time.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.